It was late 1918. Russia was shattered. The Great War had ended, but peace eluded Russia. Revolution had torn the country apart. The Tsar and his family were gone. The Bolsheviks, the Reds, now held Moscow under Lenin. Their promises of peace, land and bread soon gave way to fear and brutality. Many Russians yearned for a different future and were ready to fight for it. Opposing the Bolsheviks were the Whites, a loose alliance of former officers, monarchists, republicans and anti-Lenin socialists, their only common ground, hatred of Bolshevism and a desperate hope to reclaim Russia. But uniting such a vast divided land was a monumental task. Old loyalties had crumbled, new hatreds burned. The country's sheer size and diversity made unity seem impossible. Who could possibly lead this fight? Who could inspire a shattered nation? The challenge was immense, the outcome uncertain. The stage was set for a new, savage struggle. Winter winds howled as Russia braced for more bloodshed. The civil war would decide the nation's fate. The world watched as Russia's future hung in the balance. The Reds and Whites prepared for a brutal contest. The coming years would test every ounce of resolve. Russia's agony was far from over. The fight for the soul of Russia had just begun. Alexander Kolchak was a famed Arctic explorer and naval officer. He was respected for his competence, patriotism, and stern discipline. The revolutions of 1917 shocked him. The Bolshevik coup horrified him. Kolchak believed Russia was in grave peril and felt compelled to act. Anti-Bolshevik forces saw in him a potential savior. Though hesitant, Kolchak's sense of duty prevailed. He accepted the call to lead the White armies in Siberia. Kolchak was not a politician, but a man of action. He demanded much from himself and those around him. His commitment to Russia was absolute. The Whites hoped he could unite their fractured cause. Kolchak's leadership would soon be tested by chaos and war. He stepped forward, knowing the risks. The fate of anti-Bolshevik Russia now rested on his shoulders. The struggle for Russia's future intensified. Kolchak's journey as supreme ruler was about to begin. Boom. Russia's civil war was chaos on a massive scale. It wasn't just Reds versus Whites. Greens, anarchists and ethnic armies all fought for their own visions. Foreign powers intervened, but half-heartedly. The fighting raged from Poland to the Pacific, through brutal winters and scorching summers. Railways became lifelines, armored trains symbols of survival. Atrocities were committed by both sides. Terror was a weapon. Civilians suffered most. Famine, disease and violence tore families apart. Millions perished as the war consumed the land. Key white leaders emerged. Denikin in the south, Yudenich near Petrograd, Kolchak in Siberia. They aimed to crush the Bolsheviks, but coordination was nearly impossible. Vast distances and deep divisions kept them apart. The Whites struggled to unite their efforts. The Reds, under Lenin and Trotsky, held the advantage of central control. The war's brutality left scars that would last generations. Russia's fate hung in the balance as the conflict escalated. The civil war became a firestorm, engulfing all in its path. The struggle for power was relentless. The nation's agony deepened with every passing month. Kolchak reached Omsk, Siberia, a city far from Red Moscow. Anti-Bolshevik factions there were divided and desperate for leadership. In November 1918, a coup dissolved the ineffective Directory. Kolchak was offered supreme authority and accepted. He became supreme ruler of Russia, carrying the hopes of the Whites. Kolchak's goal: restore order, defeat Bolshevism and reunite Russia. He did not seek a Tsarist restoration, but a future constituent assembly. Early victories saw his armies push west toward the Volga. For a moment, Moscow seemed within reach. The Bolsheviks grew alarmed and prepared a fierce counterattack. The fate of Russia teetered on a knife's edge. Kolchak's leadership would soon face its greatest test. Kolchak sought help from Britain, France, America and Japan. Some Allied aid arrived, guns, uniforms, supplies, but it was limited and often late. Few foreign troops joined. Each nation had its own agenda. Japan eyed Siberian territory, complicating matters. Kolchak's army, mostly unwilling peasant conscripts, struggled with loyalty and desertion. The Siberian winter was merciless. Logistics were a nightmare. Meanwhile, Trotsky's Red Army was better organized and had more manpower. By summer 1919, the tide turned. Kolchak's forces began a bitter retreat. The dream of capturing Moscow faded. The Whites' hopes dimmed as the Reds pressed their advantage. Kolchak's position grew ever more desperate. Supreme ruler Kolchak faced endless political infighting even among his own supporters. Monarchists clashed with republicans. Unity was fragile. Kolchak's military background left him unprepared for political chaos. Corruption and inefficiency plagued his government. Peasants resisted white rule and land reform failed, costing vital support. Kolchak was honest and brave, but harsh and impatient with dissent. The retreat became a nightmare, the Great Siberian Ice March. Thousands died from cold and starvation. The army disintegrated. Civilians fled east, choking the Trans-Siberian Railway. Hope faded as desperation set in. Ordinary Russians suffered most starvation, disease, and terror from both sides. The civil war left millions dead and the nation's economy in ruins. The Bolsheviks ultimately triumphed, founding the Soviet Union. The old world of the Tsars vanished. A new, uncertain era began. Kolchak's armored train was stopped by the Czechoslovak Legion. He was handed over to the Reds in Irkutsk. In February 1920, Kolchak faced execution with calm resolve. His white movement failed disunity and lack of popular support doomed it. The Bolsheviks were ruthless, organized, and offered a clearer message. Kolchak remains a controversial figure, tragic hero to some, failed leader to others. His story is a stark reminder of war's cost. Russia's fate was forever changed. The scars of civil war would never fully heal.